Just as ripples spread out when a single pebble is dropped into water, the actions of individuals can have far-reaching effects. This is the story of one of those ripples.
He never really liked to be the center of attention. He was, I won't say shy, because he didn't mind getting involved, but Stephen was the kind of person who always stood at the periphery of a crowd to see what people needed.
Stephen Patrick Russell was born on May 22, 1986 in the mountains of Newfoundland, Canada. Immediately drawn to athletics by his preteen years, Russell's first sport was not hockey, but instead America's pastime.
Stephen didn't start until 12. He was a big baseball player and was a catcher. And so at 12, he decided that he wanted to try out. A lot of his friends were playing hockey, and actually that was really the first time, other than school skating and things, that he actually really stepped on the ice to skate. And so he became a goalie, kind of. They said, okay, well, this is the position that we have available, you can try. As soon as he got into the net, he absolutely fell in love with it, and then proceeded, as he did with anything, to be super competitive and work his butt off to kind of gain the knowledge and the skill to be the best that he could be.
Russell and his parents moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in the early 2000s. When it came time for Stephen to choose his college, North Carolina State University was his decision.
He spoke to the hockey coach before I think he even submitted his application, and asked about the program and learned a little bit about it. And so he was really excited to play for State.
He was unselfish. He was more about the greater good of what the team is all about.
He was known as a good guy that everybody liked, had a lot of fun, good student, good goaltender, good hockey player, good teammate.
He was always there for you. There were certain guys on the team that, he obviously, by living with, he was really, really tight with.
He was very intense even before the game even started. When you wake up in the morning, he had his routine for getting going on game days.
But he, for as giving as he was also super competitive playing hockey, and he was super competitive in anything really, yes.
Everything we did was competitive, whether it was playing hockey or playing video games or just anything, whether pumpkin carving. We would do pumpkin carving. You wanted to have the best pumpkin. Everything we did, he was very competitive on that.
He would not be a trash talker.
No.
He'd be quiet. He'd just go about it very quietly and very unassuming, but he'd kick your ass.
He loved his school, he loved his boys, he loved the team, and he was living large.
What's the nature of your emergency?
I mean, we got the call. It was, you just never expect that to happen. It was awful.
It was 4th of July, early evening, and we got the call, and they said Stephen was missing. They were looking for him, and we didn't know what that meant. So we drove from 8 o'clock at night on, and it was so strange. We'll never forget it. In the CD player
was his
CD.
Yeah.
And it was the strangest thing in the world to have him talking to us.
That's what it felt like.
Through the entire ride with his CD playing.
I just got back from Chicago that day, and I got the phone call in the morning, and it was from his phone.
It was when I was at Hilton Head Island, spending some vacation down there, and I remember hearing word from one of our teammates that there was an accident at Jordan Lake, and Stephen had passed.
While trying to cross the lake through an alcove, Russell disappeared beneath the surface of the murky lake water. Search crews attempted to find Russell, but due to visibility concerns, the search was called off until the next day. On the morning of Sunday, July 5th, 2009, near the Farrington Point boat access ramp, Russell's body was recovered. Stephen Russell was 23 years old.
Driving on the road that night, and the fireworks were going off on the sides of the roads in each of the communities as we were driving past, and I would think that they were welcoming Stephen to heaven. That's what I kept seeing when I would look at the fireworks, is that God's welcoming Stephen to heaven.
I remember our team for his memorial here near State. We had the NC State home jerseys on, and a few of us had the ability to get up on stage, and it was hard because you got pretty choked up, but we all shared some very good memories of Stephen, and to the best of the ability that we could, was to kind of celebrate him.
It kind of just talked about the times we had and what a great person he was, and how proud they should be of who he was and the impact that he had on everyone. He really brought positiveness to everyone and lifted everyone up and made everyone a better person, and that was a big impact that he had, that I wanted to make sure that they knew that he was someone, even though his life was cut short, it was a very, very full life, and that they should be proud of how they raised him.
He loved, Coach Kurtz was coach at the time of his death, and his friends Ross and Phil and Ben and Wes and Will and so many more. We're still in touch with them to this day.
Soon after his passing, it was he made such an impact on all of our lives, and we thought, what can we do, to always remember Stephen? And one of the guys said, tattoo.
I know a bunch of the guys on the team, after it happened, went out and got a number 20 tattooed on their arm or their leg or back or somewhere, so that they, it was always with them.
On my shoulder blade is a tattoo that's SPR 20, Stephen Patrick Russell 20, with a goalie stick right underneath it.
We walked in, we said, hey, we know this is a strange question, but we'd love to see the tattoos, and at least
Half of the team.
10 to 15 guys proceeded to undress in some way and show us their tattoos of our son.
I have stuff written on my hockey equipment for him, and then every time I pass the Jordan Lake signs, I do a little remembrance to him.
Here's a guy who was only on the team for 3 years, and for them to want to retire his jersey, which is one of the highest honors in sports, is amazing.
That was tough. It was really struck hard when you had that, and you look up at the bench and you see his banner there, and really knowing how much he cared about, and his parents, how much the service meant to his parents too, was a very big deal, and it was tough, and we were not losing that game, I'll tell you that for sure.
He was part of the NC State hockey family, and he'll always be.
And it was incredibly moving, the whole ceremony. When you especially if you were there live, it was the moment, and they had the jersey in the net, and the boys tapped the post at the end of the ceremony, which was incredibly emotional. For my family, for anybody who loses someone, and especially when you lose someone suddenly like that at a young age, and to have the coaches and those boys decide to honor and remember him in that way, to this day it still gives us comfort.
It was fitting, and that was probably one of the hardest parts, going up there and tapping the post. But it was where he wanted to be, so that was kind of fitting.
Our family were incredibly thankful. When we look at that banner and we see this tournament, we're so thankful to the people when we were completely shattered, that they said, we want to remember your boy this way. And even though we've only known him for 3 years, this is the impact that he's had on us. That gave me more comfort than I will ever be able to convey. It really did, and it continues to do so.
As further tribute to Russell, the NC State Wolfpack and head coach Dave Kurtz decided to rename their annual tournament in Russell's honor. Since late 2009, every hockey season, the Stephen Russell Memorial Tournament has been played in Raleigh.
Teams have already come in and said, can we play it in the following year?
Yeah.
Siemens building, it's like, where are we going to put them all?
The guys have understood from the time they've come in as freshmen what this is about, and they're here for the 4 years, and they make sure that the incoming freshmen know what this is about, and that's how you build a legacy.
But when I'm talking about the tournament or I'm talking about Steven, I can stay composed because he's my boy and I'm pretty proud of him. I'm happy to talk about it. And I like remembering him.
Like I tell my guys, we want character guys, not guys that are characters. And Steven was a character guy. And even though they didn't know him, they still feel that they did. They still feel that connection. And I think that's an important thing.
He would be extremely proud. It really, I mean, that's kind of the thing that he would be so super excited about. Like, that was just his type of thing. It really, really, really does a great job of moralizing him.
It's put a lot of focus on the ACC, and it's put a lot of focus on the guys and what they do and what the league's about.
I think he'd be, finally, someone's paying attention to this league. I think he'd
hockey,
be
yeah,
very
the league
happy
and
about
hockey,
it.
yeah.
He'd be super
why
happy
my
about
name?
that.
Yeah, he wouldn't want his name on it. He just wanted it to be NC State hockey tournament, for everybody.
He would, he would wonder, the attention part of it for him was.
But we think it's pretty special to see that banner hanging up and his retired number hanging up in that arena. It just still to this day gives me chills.
Just the game of hockey growing. It wouldn't be, you'd probably look at it and say, why are they doing all this in remembrance of me? Because that's the kind of guy that he was. He'd want it to be more about the game of hockey.
It's unfortunate how he passed so early and left us early, but I'm happy his legacy is continuing on.
It's a celebration of Steven and all the lives that he has touched.
I would hope that he watches from above every year, and I would hope that he was cheering us on, and I would hope that he would realize that even though guys don't know him, that he still left that kind of a mark on people.
So what came from that very dark, dark night, we figured out a way to take who he was and pay it forward. This is everything that we do, the tournament, the writing, all of that. Everything that we do, we like to call Steven's ripple. This is his ripple out for other people, and this tournament included.